Hello, it has been a while, but we need to talk about the current state of Hearthstone again, but especially the future, where we think this is heading, because more than ever, I've seen people saying this game is dying, and people are just not happy with how things are going. But we also got one of the biggest updates ever, which is the Death Knight new class, which is supposed to revive Hearthstone hopefully and do, you know, a big influx of things. How is all of that going, and also how do I think things are evolving? A quick recap, if you will. And I will be starting with a tweet that I think pretty well worded my issues with the game as well. This was, well, some time ago now, but almost 2 weeks. I think Battlegrounds has not been in a worse state ever content-wise. Now we're specifically talking about Battlegrounds here. I do think Battlegrounds and Standard are very closely interweaved at the moment, because of course if Standard does better, usually Battlegrounds picks up as well. That isn't always the case though, but I do think it's important that if Standard would die off completely, Battlegrounds would also be in a bad state, because a lot of the money, actually most of the money that Hearthstone makes is through Standard and through their packs, not Battlegrounds cosmetics necessarily. But anyway, there was nothing to qualify for over another month, and nothing has changed since 2 months, and that's still the same. Thinking about playing Standard even, same here, and also already replied to that he doesn't think it's the worst time ever. There have been other people who said Battlegrounds plays fine right now. We still have the quest system. I think quests have been one of the best additions into Battlegrounds, makes every game feel fresh. There's more things that you can explore than ever before, and lines that you can take with how much variety there is in the games, or at least most of the time. A quick break to tell you about the Dekkster that I've been using in all of my videos, and also the sponsor of this video, Firestone. Firestone is completely free, and it does basically anything that you want it to do for Battlegrounds. From the normal stuff like seeing win percentages, tracking your opponent's boards, seeing what is in the lobby when it comes to tribes, being able to reposition your boards, re-simulate each fight from a previous battle so you can see all of your previous games and just completely overanalyze them. It tracks like how your performance is over a while. You can see, well, hero tier lists. You can see how your performance is on average with every hero. Please check out the link in the description if you want to try it out. I highly recommend it. Now onto the video. But we were promised regular updates and crazy content with the Tavern Pass, and the game feels dry right now. Yeah, that's the craziest part. They introduced this battle pass now, rune stones that you have to pay for in order to pay for other things. Like, they are going so all in, and they promised a lot of changes. But we got the same amount of content pretty much right now for Battlegrounds after the battle pass than before the battle pass. It is wild, and especially right now when there's this drought, there's nothing happening the end of the year. We'll have to wait maybe another month before we get a decent patch for Battlegrounds. It's crazy. And funniest part about runestones is you can still buy things with normal money. I checked the shop to see what they were offering. I can still play with like a normal money compared to having to buy runestones first. And I'm very conflicted with what they're doing, but hey, it's all about money, right? Anyway, seems like a lot of content creators are in the same dip, and even if they are not, they're slowly getting there because they see how things are not changing. But when it comes to the meta, I think it's pretty okay. You have Murlocs, which ruin every lobby. A lot of APM pirates as well, being, you know, if you looked at the lobby legends at the tournament, which we did, you can notice that the first couple lobbies were all won by APM pirates. Then there were a bunch of Murloc and poison scam stuff. There were a couple interesting games though where there was Menagerie being played, merely because there was no Murlocs and pirates in the lobby, but still it seems very rock paper scissors based, and I don't think there's like too much creativity that you can do right now. Then again, I haven't played in a bit, maybe I'm wrong. It's from what I've heard and what I've seen. But now I want to move on to the lobby legend that I just talked about. So we finally got a esports for Battlegrounds this year, and I want to kind of recap on how it went and how it's going. But if you look at the views that lobby legend streams get, they're very low, especially for how long they are. The longer a stream is, the more views it's going to acquire. But if you compare it to other streams of the same length, or ones that are like twice the length, for example, this one is twice the length, but it got almost 100k views. This one only 60k, and it's a trend throughout the entire year. Most Lobby Legends streams on YouTube have not been performing too hot. The chat is also a mess. It's pretty much always a mess. But also the Hearthstone channel isn't doing, you know, great compared to what you expect. But because there was no Lobby Legends this month, so this month you're kind of playing for nothing. Usually you can grind a higher rank and you can try and obtain something which is top 16, so you can qualify for Lobby Legends. This month there's nothing. There's no incentive to play, which is even worse. But Pocky did a really cool cool community thing where he basically organized a tournament using one of the new guest star features on Twitch, and it was super sick. Like a bunch of people in the community, high ranked players coming together, and then, you know, playing games and talking about them. So this was a really cool community made substitute for Lobby Legends this month, but it's kind of sad that we as a community have to take things in our own hands to make the game interesting and to keep going without, you know, seeing much support from the other side. It feels very disconnected right now. It just feels like the company that makes the game is incredibly disconnected from the audience and the community in a lot of decisions, not just this, but like a bunch of decisions they've made over the years, the runestones, the past. Like, there's just too much to go over, honestly. But yeah, if you look at the social blade for Hearthstone's YouTube channel, I just want to check it out real quick. They're just actively losing subscribers by the day, which honestly does not surprise me too much. But of course, I know a lot of the streams happen on Twitch as well. There's where more viewership is than on their YouTube live streams. But even on Twitch, like, it's hard to differentiate which are Lobby Legends or not, but they average 4,000 viewers, which for a game account, like one that hosts super expensive tournaments, like Lobby Legends costs a lot, the prize pool is massive, and there's also the production and all the other things. Like, the view count is so sad compared to other tournaments or esports. Like, there's streamers that get more than this that play Hearthstone. But yeah. Then there's of course the trend line, which is just showing you how many people look for it on Google or YouTube. And of course the biggest peak, as we know, is 2015. It's kind of crazy that the biggest peak of this game was 8 years ago. 8 years, and here we are, all of us still playing this and watching content. But I want to point out that you can see that it flatlined in the end. Like, a lot of people are saying, is the game dying? Everything is going to hell. But the game has been steady for a couple of years now, you know, having these small spikes of when big updates happen. But I don't see it increasing anytime soon. I think that's a fever dream that we should not chase. I think it could still decline in the future depending on if more competitors pop up, like Marvel Snap, which we'll talk about a lot as well in a second, or if you know, things go in the ground and even more issues arise. But yeah, as you can see, I think the game is safe. I think Battlegrounds will exist for many more years to come, and Hearthstone, but it will just not see the big resurgence or the big things that we as a community might want. But I also want to put your eyes onto, let's say, the last month, because this is supposed to be the biggest month in Hearthstone history, because we got the Death Knight release. The class is this was probably the most hyped thing ever, and what everyone was really hoping on, you know, doing big things for the game. Right now it has kind of doubled the reach, but if you look at the last 90 days, or let's say the last year, I don't know how big this spike is actually going to be compared to spikes we've seen before. Of course, the month of December hasn't ended yet, but if you look at views, they're already stabilizing. Like, even 1 week or 2 weeks, I don't know how long it's been after the release, it's like kind of sad, honestly. I also want to point out one more thing, and that is, if you look, let's say at 90 days, or let's say a month, if you scroll down, you can see that the most searches are from China and South Korea as well. If you look at the United States, for example, or other countries, they're pretty low compared to, well, China's. And I think China has been in the news quite a bit when it comes to Hearthstone as well and the game. So now let's talk about the big elephant in the room, Marvel Snap. So this game popped up, and you probably heard of it by now. I just want to point you towards, like, the last video from 2 days ago. It's just an animated trailer. Is 1.3 million views already. That is insane for a game company to get that many views in just a couple days. 2 weeks ago, a developer update where they just talk about, what is this, Power Cosmetics? They talk about stuff in the game. 160,000 views. Like, that, Hearthstone doesn't just get that with developer updates, for example. But that's not all. If you look at the Google Trends now for Marvel Snap compared to Hearthstone, you can see since release it has overtaken Hearthstone. Even during Hearthstone's biggest peak, it seems like Hearthstone will kind of get ahead of Snap right now. But that's only temporary, as we know, you know, how the changes happen. So we'll see what happens in a couple months. I think this is not enough data to go from, you know, the point of, okay, Marvel Snap is killing Hearthstone. Don't think that's true at all, but we'll have to see. Maybe a month from now, Marvel Snap goes down again. It was just a big boost right now. But honestly, I think Marvel Snap is here to stay. There have been so many content creators that made Hearthstone content that swapped to Marvel Snap. So many new content creators that I've never seen before suddenly become really big on Marvel Snap because they're providing a lot of content. The stream category is constantly growing. And meanwhile, Hearthstone is having this biggest, supposedly biggest update ever, and it's not even catching up. But yeah, this is the main threat to Hearthstone. Like, all of these least we have other card games in the past like Runeterra. We still have Online Magic, which has played a lot, or Yu-Gi-Oh, but now Marvel Snap seems to be the biggest competitor to Hearthstone, and that is just very clear if you look at the community and again the people switching over and the content being made. But we'll look again at this graph in a couple months from now. I think it will be more interesting than right now, but as we can see, the Snap hype is just objectively a bit more. That's also because again the patches that we're getting, this was the latest Battlegrounds patch that we got, where all we had is this new hero that was kind of boring to play. I don't think it's too cool. The quest also pretty much broke the game. They already had to nerf it, make it more rare and harder to obtain, but it's still in the game. I still was able to play it, and even though it was harder to achieve, it was super broken. And yeah, and besides that, we just had this useless patch here. I mean, for Battlegrounds useless. They did some stuff in standard, I suppose. And we'll just have to wait until something big happens, probably next month, which is a long time. I also want to check Reddit real quick because, well, checking Reddit is usually not the best idea, because usually it's just people complaining or memes or not very informational. But it was kind of concerning that I went onto the Hearthstone Reddit. The first thing I saw was people already kind of complaining about matchups, not just here, but I've also seen it on Twitter happen quite a bit. Seems fun though, people are enjoying it for now, but also people complaining about the card collection. Another bigger issue is that, yeah, like diamond cards or what's it called, signature cards seem to be very out of place. Here's an entire thread by J. Alexander. A lot of people have made tweets about this or content about this as well, where how like the new cards and new designs are very off. Again, seems like a pretty big disconnect between like the creators, the developers, or people working on Hearthstone and the community, since it is so negatively viewed. Some people are happy with the cards, but I don't know. Yeah, it's just weird that these things keep happening. Like, people have to keep making these posts and talking about how something doesn't make sense or what's the point. Like, I don't think it's that big of a deal, like if a card looks different. I don't know. I don't really have too much of an opinion on this since I don't play standard. I just know that it's been in the news a lot. People complaining about the new signature cards. And with that, I want to talk about one more thing. So basically we had, you know, a quick look now at what's going on right now in Hearthstone. Why I'm taking a break while a lot of other creators are kind of stepping away or trying Mulliver Snap. We just need something fresh in Battlegrounds and in standard. Big boom, but the boom is not as big as we probably expected, and of course it comes with issues. Nothing too unexpected. The future is uncertain. I would expect Hearthstone to still exist and be stable, but again, there's more threats than ever before. We see the biggest spikes being lower. We see Marvel Snap popping up, things like that. But I want to end on a final note. So if I look at my channel right now, I haven't posted for a while, so I can see which videos still passively get views, right? So I've made a bunch of tutorials, bunch of guides, all those things in the past. One of the videos that gets the most views on my channel right now, without doing anything that I've made like a while ago, is this one, which talks about every auto battler that I played. I compare a bunch of auto battlers with each other. This is the video that passively on my channel, if you look at the curve, still gets a lot of views to this day. One of the most views in the last 48 hours. Not a lot, but it's Hearthstone content. Like, if all my other guides often get less views than this. So I think this speaks for itself. It kind of shows you what people are interested in watching on my channel. Even though it's primarily Hearthstone based, this is the one that gets the most views. But anyway, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed this short breakdown. I hope I wasn't rambling too much. I know it might have been a bit incoherent and I've been jumping a lot from subject to subject. But hope you got something out of it. Have a good day.